Hey, welcome back to New World Nerds. I'm Nico.
And I'm Brandon.
And today we'll be reviewing Captain America
America
Civil
Civil
War.
War.
The format for our reviews are the good, the bad, and the fixable. So let's jump in to the good.
You have a metal arm? That is awesome, dude.
So the good, I think what this movie does best is the characters. It's very character driven rather than plot driven. You know, plot driven is good. Character driven, I think, drives it home more personally because we've seen their story arc spanning multiple movies, and we see it coming to a head here. We've got something. A fight between Iron Man and Captain America was teased all the way back in the first Avengers. He's like, "Put on the suit, put it on."
Yeah, that was good too.
Yeah.
I also like the introduction of Spider-Man.
There's a lot of new there's two new characters like Black Panther and Spider-Man that I thought were woven into the story really well.
In the story really well.
They're new to the movies, old in the comics.
Yep.
But I thought they did a really good job of making them into the story, and the reason for them being there was very genuine and it made sense.
Yeah.
Which is always good.
Yeah, and you really got to see the humor side. Like, you got to see the characters, their dialogue showed what the characters are really about. Especially with Spider-Man. Like, he was cracking all the jokes, and he was like, I really love to stay and this and that, but it's like classic Spider-Man. Like, this is what we want to see.
Yeah. It was a lot of character stuff, like I said, but also that this comic is the comic is a lot different than this movie. Yeah. But I think it serves the movie. It serves what the MCU. They made it fit very well. It coppers some panels like the Iron Man repulsor ray hitting Cap's shield. Perfect, straight from the comics. And the tone, I think, is very similar.
It had the best tone for a Marvel film, in my opinion.
It was super good. It was serious, and
but yet still had its comical moments, especially with Falcon as like comic relief, like Red Wing, all that. Even though
there was still fun parts, fun dialogue between the characters, but there was also serious ideas brought up.
A lot of political undertones.
Yes,
like,
for sure. A lot like Winter Soldier. Which is also a very good movie.
Very almost low-key political.
And it's by the same, it's directed by the same people, the Russo brothers, who I thought did a phenomenal job with such a big ensemble cast, which people were saying was like, you know, after Age of Ultron, they're like, oh, maybe this is becoming too many characters, maybe this isn't what we want.
No such thing.
But I thought they did a really good job of corralling all these different personalities and stuff, and putting them into a cohesive story and making everything makes sense, because there's no wasted scenes in the movie. They're all to work on the character's development.
Yeah, especially early on when they were showing Iron Man, and when he was like young Robert Downey Jr. with his father. That was all setting up. They basically Quentin Tarantino'd it, where they showed you the crash scene, and then you're like, wait, what is this? Yeah. And then at the end, you're like, oh, it was all to set up Iron Man and Cap disagreeing, basically, ultimately to a fight. Like, I don't know, that was super cool. It's super well done, well thought out, you could tell. It was still good, though. Spider-Man was great. It's the only thing I remember about that film, ultimately.
Spider-Man was great. Black Panther, great. Cap, it made sense. He was finally doing something for himself.
Yeah.
Which you don't normally see. He's always doing it for the country, or he's always doing it for the civilians.
Peggy Carter dies, and so that gives him motivation to keep.
Yes. Even that throwback to, character from the first movie.
Yeah.
And I feel like and not only Captain America's storyline or arc was really well, done really well, but I thought Iron Man's, and I thought Robert Downey Jr. did a wonderful job of showing that he's basically has PTSD from going through the wormhole and from fighting and everything. It's taking a toll on him, but not only that, he's possessed by fear and guilt from his previous life, which he has now turned around. He thought he was going straight, but then he created Ultron, and Ultron drops Sokovia, and he's still reeling from that. And
Iron Man just gets worse, makes worse and worse decisions as the movies goes on.
And we know he means well, right? We know he's a hero, but like his fears possessing him, and the vision that Scarlet Witch showed him about Thanos' army or the Chitauri coming back, he's possessed by that. That's why he created Ultron. That's why he created the Vision ultimately, which could have turned out badly, but it didn't. And that's why he's so for these Accords as well.
Yeah. The Accords was good. I liked how they disagreed. I liked the debate that went on between Tony and Cap with the pen scene. That was a really good scene.
So there's these 3 scenes that I really liked. I wanted to narrow it down to one, and I positively could not. The first one would be after they got the Sokovia Accords, they all discussed it, and you all saw where each of them stood, and you saw where they each came from. And it felt like you were part of the discussion because you've watched all these characters grow, and here they are with this is a real world problem, oversight. And they're having to deal with it, and you think like, oh, they're superheroes and stuff, and you think Captain America of all people, I feel like after he came out of the ice, he would have said yes, but he's done
after the events of Winter Soldier.
After the events of Winter Soldier, he's not going to do this. And like Black Widow, maybe before Winter Soldier, she wouldn't have done it for sure. And like now she's like, oh, we need to win their trust back.
Yeah,
it just
at
makes
the end
sense.
of Winter Soldier, she was like, oh, I don't mess with she was like, fuck the government.
Yeah,
basically.
she basically
and then
said that.
Afterwards, it's like, oh, I guess we'll do it.
Yeah.
I guess
and then
good.
you see like someone like Vision who really doesn't have any agenda, and he sides with Iron Man. So you're like, oh, maybe that's the right choice.
Maybe it is.
Everyone thinks that they're right, and there's just different. It's just perspective.
Yeah.
And so the second scene I would like to talk about is when Tony Stark goes and meets Peter Parker in his apartment in New York or in Queens, and that was amazing. I thought it was a great. It was a great introduction. It's like him being recruited not only onto Tony's team, but and to the MCU as a whole. And I love Tom Holland.
The Tony and Aunt May flirting with each other.
Yeah.
That was by far the best. I was like, finally. Like, what has this been? This is what I wanted to see.
I liked Tom Holland's reasoning for why he does what he does. Because Tony Stark is trying to find out why he does this, why he does that, like what gets you out of that twin bed in the morning. And he gives with great power comes great responsibility speech, but he doesn't say it. And I think it speaks so much more to the writer that he knows like who he is. He doesn't have to use a cheap line. Not that it's cheap for like
Well, nowadays it is.
Now
back then it was like
oh man.
Yeah.
But like it'd be cheap to just say, oh, with great power comes great responsibility, because it's not Uncle Ben, and we've heard it.
Well, we can't rehash it, what I mean?
We can't rehash it.
I felt like it was the best modern like way of saying it without saying it kind of deal, but you still get the same like idea for sure.
He's like, when you can do what I do and then the bad stuff happens and you don't do anything, it's your fault. And I thought it was perfect. And the last scene I'd like to talk about is the part where Tony Stark he's trying to level with Cap, and he brings in the FDR pen, the pens, the set, and it's foreshadowing like, we gotta split up the set for their relationship, and then Cap's gonna sign it, and then he's like, oh yeah, we'll reinstate you and Wanda. He's like, Wanda? It's like, she's confined.
Have her reinstated.
Yeah.
Tony every time.
Yeah, I think it's a perfect
Chris
break.
Evans, he sells
You
it.
see him seep into the role, like he's upset.
Yeah.
And then they're going back and forth, and Iron Man's like, give me a break. He's just trying to do what's right because he's possessed by this fear and guilt from everything that's come before.
He still hasn't, Tony, I'm thinking about it now, and Tony still hasn't told the Avengers the vision he saw of all of them dead. That's going to come up later. It's got to, because they showed it once, and then he never said anything about it. He
never said it.
Yeah.
And that's why he's doing all this.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God, that's
no, it's true, though. Like, when you think about it, it would make sense that this guy would just go there for that because of what the things he's seen,
I like that the most because I thought it was genuine people would say this, Like, this is an argument between two friends.
It didn't feel like it was artificial. Like, you really felt like these characters had motives.
And you could feel the tension in the room.
Yeah, true. That was another good scene.
And, I guess I'd be remiss if I didn't say the airport scene.
Yeah, the airport scene was good. If I had to pick one scene in particular, is Spider-Man's intro in Queens and everything, because that was by far, that was one thing I remember watching the movie and thinking, this could go 100 different ways. And, I don't know where it's going to go, and it went perfectly. It was exactly what I wanted from, a modern Spider-Man. I don't know, I liked it.
For sure.
Yeah. And Aunt May's hot.
She's a kid. Give me a break.
Okay, the thing we didn't like, or the thing I have a gripe about, is maybe the villain, Baron Zemo, or Helmut Zemo, as he's called in the movie. His plan was maybe a tad too elaborate. And also the scale of this movie is a lot smaller.
If I had one gripe, that would be it.
Yeah,
I feel like the scale, Civil War should be more characters involved, like the comics, even though that's not what we got. But with what we got, I'm happy with, because it could have been a lot worse. Like, I'm glad it came out so good, but then again, I was like, if I had to gripe about something, I feel like that was what I'd pick out.
Yeah.
It's a bigger scale.
Stay down. Final warning. I could do this all day.
The Civil War comic would be impossible to replicate on movie rights alone. And the fact that the Russo brothers were able to do this is astounding. Civil War could have been a jumbled up mess of action, characters, and storylines, but instead it was a character-driven story that was relatable, relevant, and action-packed.
A lot of the characters weaved in perfectly with the story, made something cohesive, and also wasn't jumbled up. I also felt like the villain was something that was well thought out as compared to like other villains. He wasn't more of a throwaway villain.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah,
I'm so
which
glad
I
he
liked.
survived.
Yeah, exactly.
And also, it was very true to the source material. It was very true to the characters, which is good because it was character-driven.
I'm glad he didn't look like Zemo from the comics, because he has the...
Yeah.
That was just... God, that'd be awesome.
There's some scenes that are about larger-than-life characters, like the airport scene. But there's certain parts that show us that these characters have grown over the last 8 years. Yeah. The conflict between all these characters feel genuine. They explain very well why each person is doing what.
The character arcs are more fleshed out because they have multiple movies of story before them. So you feel like more gravitas when you're watching the scenes. Like they mean more because you've seen more footage of it.
And it's not just like, oh, hero versus villain. It's friend versus friend now.
Yeah, it's really.
Or it's not like
heroes.
hero ideology. Yeah, it is ideologies crashing, but it's like also friend versus friend.
Yeah,
And
I like that
ally
line
versus ally
from Tony. He was like, oh, he's my friend, and he was like, well, so was I.
So was I.
Yeah, it's like classic. Like basically depicts what Civil War is. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I like the fact that everybody in this film believes they're doing what is right, from Cap to Zemo. Yes. Zemo's plan is a tad elaborate, but you don't notice it while you're watching the film because you're so encapsulated by it. And Zemo is also a reminder of the consequences of being superheroes, or what being a superhero
the collateral
can make.
Damage that a hero
which
makes.
is underlining throughout the entire film.
Yeah, that's true. I like
consequences.
A villain was made from the consequences of another movie.
And you can even say that about Crossbones, even though he had a small part.
Yeah, that's true. But I like that superhero movies are doing that now, where they address that fact, or like the collateral damage of it, because it wouldn't be just perfect in a real world.
I want to go into the ratings, but I want to let you know that The Avengers was my favorite MCU movie. This knocked it off. Because I watched all these Marvel movies and I thought I could no longer be surprised. And them not killing Cap surprised me.
And you thought,
because that's what I thought it needed. And I was wrong. They didn't need to kill Cap because everyone makes up at a funeral. These Avengers are broken. They're broken within, like Zemo wanted.
Yeah, the way Zemo puts it in the movie is that if you break the structure from within, it can never fully get back together, which is perfect. Yes. Perfect analogy of the breaking up of Iron Man and Cap and the team. You know what I mean? And the way it culminates up in the end and the new Avengers and what are the Avengers now? Yes. You know what I mean? I don't know. It changes everything. It was good though. It was a really good ending. Yeah.
So, the clash between the heroes gave me a childlike feeling that I had only gotten between them teaming up. In the first Avengers. And
because we never seen that side of them from watching the movies. You never see this hero versus this hero officially, and in this movie we got to saw that, so it was like a fan thing really.
Only on par with seeing them for the first time, but them clashing was deeper because you saw all the ideas and the feelings that made them heroes were tearing them apart.
Yeah, and they set that up in earlier movies like we talked about. So it's perfect how that all intertwines. Yeah.
So I really enjoyed this movie. This isn't a secret. I wanted to rate this movie 19 VHS tapes out of 20.
19 VHS tapes. I'm not elaborate, so I'm going to give it a 9.7 out of 10.
Oh, shit.
Because it was nearly perfect. Like I said, a few minor gripes with the overall size of the story, but that's just a gripe. It's a 0.3 of out of 10. It's still a really good film. I don't know. I'd recommend, even if you don't like comic book films or read comic books, you'll like this movie.
For sure. It's like I loved it it's my favorite MCU movie, but also it stands by itself.
Yeah, that's what's good about it, and it also changes the landscape of like I said, what are the Avengers, and the story is later to come.
A lot of the gripes for Marvel movies is that they don't have any lasting consequences, and I feel this one had lasting consequences.
Most definitely did.
Because the Avengers are scattered, they're broken up, and I don't know if it can be repaired, but I know what the hell is gonna bring them together.
Oh, yeah.
Thanos,
and death.
This made me very excited, even more for Infinity War, because I know that the Russo brothers can handle a big ensemble like this one, and it's only gonna get bigger.
Oh yeah.
I'm excited for what's to come. I really enjoyed this film. Definitely go see it if you haven't seen it. Tom Holland's my favorite Spider-Man.
Tom Holland by far is the best incarnation of Spider-Man.
And he only had like 15 or 20 minutes of screen time.
Let's give him a movie. That's what they say. No, let's be real. Who's Tom? Toby who?
I select him back.
Yeah, Toby
Andrew Garfield was a good Spider-Man. Andrew Garfield. The writing around.
He would be a good Barry Allen.
Ooh,
Dad.
On the mic.
That's all that matters. What
did you say?
Wait,
all right,
so we're ready?
We're ready. We're going. We're rolling.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, here we go. Rolling.
Yeah. So.
What was I say? Thank you for joining us here at New World Nerds. If you like this review, check out another review that we have about another superhero clash, Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice, Ultimate Edition.
If you have 40 minutes to kill, please watch our video.
And if you're into gaming, watch our gameplay of Don't Starve Together.
Yeah,
it's a lot of fun. Pig people, spiders. It gets pretty crazy.
And if you like this video, like and comment what you want to see us review next.
Don't forget to subscribe.
Oh, yeah.
Make sure to follow us at New World Nerds on Twitter. Make sure to follow me at Superman Nico. I'll give you a shout out maybe. Who knows?
He will.
We're good people. I'm good people.
He's good
You're
people.
good people.
I don't have anything to follow. I apologize. Not yet. Yeah, thank you to the subscribers we have now.
Thank you to all the subscribers we have right now. All the people who like the video. All the people giving us shout outs on Twitter.
Tell your friends.
Tell your friends. Thank you for people sharing it on Facebook.
Yes.
We love all the love and support that we get from you guys. These videos are a lot of fun to make. We'd like to keep making them.
Yeah, we'd love to keep making them.
So, thank you once again. Hope you enjoyed it. Go watch Civil War if you haven't yet.
Yeah. Hasta mañana.
Keep nerding out there, true believers.
Keep nerding out there, true believers.